Hey guys, welcome back here to Intuitive Angling, and appreciate you guys coming by the channel and checking it out today. Today's topic is we're going to talk about what is the most forgotten bass fishing technique that still works like crazy today. That I know why people don't do it anymore, but I'm going to basically go over what it is and give you guys some tips and advice, because if you incorporate this technique, especially for fishing this time of year in the summertime, you're still going to catch a bunch of fish on it. So we're going to dig into that today. Also, guys, for get started, I just want to give you a quick reminder, guys. You know that I've been working with Cast King now for the last several months. They've got this new reel out, guys. It's called the ALTI bait cast reel. Unfreaking believable, guys. This is the first bait cast reel that you can actually cast it without even put your thumb on the spool, and it won't backlash. And the reason, it's got this halo vortex braking system on it. And when you set that braking system right, you can cast just like a spin cast reel. You don't even have to put your finger on the thumb. It's unbelievable. 11 ball bearings, guys. It's got the world's first all titanium spool. It's just around 200 bucks. It's very competitive as far as price point. So I'll have my Cast King link in the description of this video. And if you use my promo code Randy10, you get an additional discount, guys. You'll love this reel, man. It is so light. I absolutely just love it. So appreciate you guys putting up with the plugs there. Okay, guys, let's talk about the most forgotten bass fishing technique that is still, in my opinion, one of the top 5 bass fishing techniques. But I think what happens with this is we have so many different options as anglers out there. We've got a countless number of lures and techniques. We got all the latest, technology and baits, all the swim baits, jig head minnows, all that type of stuff. And one of the things, the most forgotten technique that nobody uses anymore, is just the old Texas rig plastic worm. It is unbelievable versatile. It's unbelievable effective, especially in the summertime of year. You just don't see people fishing it. I rarely see people just fishing an old ribbon tail plastic worm anymore. But guys, it is deadly still. So I want to go over some situations that a Texas rig will stand out and still catch a bunch of fish over even all the latest stuff. Okay, first of all, when I'm Texas rigging, guys, there's a lot of different plastic worms, but when I do Texas rigging, when I think traditional Texas rigging, I'm thinking about a ribbon tail like this. This is a Zoom Old Monster. I'll link this in my Tackle Warehouse link in the description too. This is my favorite, just straight up plastic worm. You've got straight tail plastic worms. You got the ones like the curly tails, like the Ultra Vibes. But this is what's called a ribbon tail. And there's something about this ribbon tail that is highly appealing to bass. A couple different reasons. First of all, if you're in a little bit cleaner water, the visual attraction of this ribbon tail makes it look alive. And then if the water's a little bit more stained, you have this subtle vibration and water displacement from the ribbon tails going through the water. So it's a subtle bait, yet it stands out, and it is appealing to fish in any different situation. Every state in the country will bite a ribbon tail worm. Okay, I want to show you guys how I like to rig it, and then we're going to talk a little bit about where you want to fish it and everything. Now, first of all, let's talk about how you want to rig this thing. With the Texas rig, most of the time, I like the lightest slip sinker that I can get by. I usually 3/16 is probably one of my favorite sizes. I actually prefer a straight shank worm hook with them. I just happen to have this offset one on. I've been fishing a tube here lately, and a tube works really good on a EWG hook, but for the most part, I use a straight shank Gamakatsu Finesse worm hook on there. Now, some people like the offsets like this. The reason a lot of people like the offsets is it's a little bit more user friendly, because the offset will allow it to stay up on the worm. So if you do use an offset, guys, one of the things is make sure that you come all the way through the worm like that, and then just lay it flat against the worm, maybe barely hook it in here. Now, here's one of the most important things about a plastic worm to make it work effectively. You got to get the worm straight. You want the worm as straight as you possibly can get it. It doesn't matter if it's if the EWG hook, see like that one, guys, I have it's just off center, just a hair, and it's not perfectly straight. So if it's not perfectly straight, guys, take some time to get it perfectly straight. It makes a big difference in how many bites that you're going to get, for sure. So just take a little bit of time to make sure that worm is straight perfectly all the way on there. So it's a simple rigging technique. And like I said, a lot of people prefer the EWG, but I personally prefer the straight shank on that. And also, guys, I'll put that hook in there, that worm hook that I like, that straight shank Gamakatsu. I'll put that in my tackle warehouse link in the description of the video if you guys would like to order some of those hooks. Okay, let's talk a little bit about how to work a Texas rig, and then we're going to talk a little bit about when it works and the conditions. Now, a Texas rig, I work it different than like a creature bait or a jig. If I'm fishing a jig, guys, I'll throw it out there, and I'm usually hopping the jig off the bottom. I'll let it set to the bottom, and I'll just hop it like that. I want that jig coming off the bottom. And most of the time on a creature bait, I'm flipping and pitching a creature bait. So I'm hopping a creature bait a little bit more too. But on a worm, I'm really sort of like twitching it and dragging it. So this is how I work a Texas rig. So I'll throw it out there, I'll let it hit the bottom, and then I'll shake it like that without reeling the handle a little bit, and then I'll just pull it like that. Take up the slack, shake it a little bit, almost like working a shaky head, pull it a little bit. So in other words, what it looks like is you've got this worm laying on the bottom, okay? Worm's just laying on there like that, and you're shaking it on a loose line like that, and it's just making that worm just sort of vibrate just a little bit like that. So when that worm hits the bottom, that bass is gonna swim down there. It's gonna look at that worm. It's not just gonna like boom and grab it like that. Most of the time they're gonna swim down slow. They're gonna like look at it. They're gonna get that far away from it. And then if you shake it like that, just vibrate it a little bit and then drag it like that, they think it's getting away, and that's when they bite it. And also, guys, scent is important on a plastic worm. I don't want to make this sound like a big commercial or something, but it is important. Guys, try this Baitpop scent. What I do with it, it's got real fish in it, it's got real amino acids. Put you some on your finger like that and just rub it on the bait like this. It'll stay on there for like 30 minutes. So this is one of the reasons scent is so important, guys, is that worm's on the bottom like that, and that fish is this far away from it, and they say that a bass can smell better than a dog. So if you have scent on that plastic worm and that fish is that far away from it, your odds of getting a strike are gonna go way up. So try this stuff out, guys. I love this Baitpop. It comes in a bunch of different flavors and colors. It's freaking awesome there. Okay, so that's pretty much how I work it. Now, finally setting the hook on the thing. Oh, and another thing, guys, most of the time when I'm fishing a plastic worm, I use it on my flipping stick almost all the time. Even if I'm using a lighter line, the flipping stick will allow me not only to pitch and flip it, but it'll allow me to make long casts. It allows me to take up a lot of slack on the hook set. I just like a flipping stick for my worm fishing. So when you get the strike, now we've talked about this a little bit before as far as reeling and pulling into the fish. One of the things about a Texas rig worm is since you have that hook in the plastic a little bit, you have to put a little bit more pressure on the fish as far as a little bit more forceful hook set. So a lot of the baits that you see me talk about, I'm talking about reeling down till your line's tight and then just reeling back and pull into it. What you want to do on a Texas rig worm is like you throw out there and you get the bite on it. Again, tighten your line up on it. You don't ever want to set anything on a slack hook, guys, on a slack set. You want to tighten your line so you're in a direct line with the fish, because if you try to set on a slack line, a lot of times that line being slack, that fish can move while you're going down to set the hook. And when you set the hook on there, you don't exactly know where that line's at as far as in the water. So when you tighten up on it, you know exactly where that line is. And I don't set the hook until I can feel the fish moving my rod tip, and then I'll set the hook and reel back like that. I'm not gonna reel down and set it on a slack. I'm gonna have a tight line and I'm gonna set the hook and start reeling to penetrate that. So that's gonna allow a lot more consistency as far as your hook sets. Now, where you wanna fish and how you wanna fish a Texas rig, it's super, super versatile. One of my favorite ways to fish a Texas rig in the summertime, and a lot of people don't do it, is swimming a Texas rig. Swimming a Texas rig worm is an excellent way to catch them in off-colored water and shallow water, because what I have found is if you've got water visibility that's like under 2 foot, sort of in that 1 to 2 foot zone, and you got some shallow cover, I don't care if it's a dock or a lay down tree or grass or whatever like that, I'll take that Texas rig ribbon tail and I'll put it on that 3/16 sinker or an 1/8 ounce sinker, and I'll throw it out there and I'll just reel it in. I'll keep my rod tip high and I swim that worm same way as I'm swimming a swim jig, or if I'm throwing a swim bait or something like that. I'm trying to swim it past the cover even if the cover's in shallow water. So let's say, for example, there's a stump in the water in 3 foot of water. The stump is sitting in 3 feet. A lot of times, if you pitch that worm in by that stump and let it go to the bottom, in the summertime, you may not get a bite. But if you swim that worm sometimes, like you throw it at past the worm, swim that worm about, 1.5 or 2 foot down, for whatever reason, they'll come out there and hammer it a lot of times. And swimming really works good anytime you're around grass or pads or something like that too. Other than that, guys, I'm usually pitching and flipping that. There's two other different ways. I'm pitching and flipping that big worm around whatever cover I have available. It could be a brush pile, it could be a boat dock, shallow grass, lay down tree, anything. It's a really good pitching and flipping bait. And then probably one of the best ways to fish it also, you catch a bunch of fish, is fishing a worm deeper on hard structure. So a worm is a great bait to fish, just an old school ribbon tail worm on points, just dragging it on points, fishing it on breaks and drop offs. It's one of the best lures that you can throw when that water's really, really hot in the summertime. Most of the colors I use on them, guys, when I'm using a plastic worm, I normally don't like to use it in real clear water. So therefore, I don't use a lot of like natural colors like green pumpkins and watermelons, like with my ribbon tail worms. I'm usually using like a red bug or plum or June bug color. The plum and June bug are probably my 2 favorite summer colors. They work really, really good, especially plum. If you gave me one color, a plastic worm, it'd probably be plum worm in the summertime. But it's a great bait, guys. Just like I said, don't forget about it. I mean, it still catches them like it better than it ever has. And again, guys, I'll put all those links in the description. I'll link my hooks I use. I'll put the worms I use, and that. Definitely try one of those Cast King reels, guys. If you're looking to buy a reel, give that sucker a try. You will not be disappointed in it. I love the thing. So anyway, I hope it helps out, guys. We'll talk later.